Thousands of defiant Iranians have taken to the streets of Tehran, pledging allegiance to their new Ayatollah while openly taunting President Donald Trump over the war. It's a striking scene, crowds chanting, flags waving, yet behind the spectacle lies a far more unsettling story. Because according to Washington, Iran's new supreme leader is not exactly in commanding form. The U.S. Secretary of Defense revealed he has been wounded, possibly badly, even disfigured. Iran insists the Ayatollah delivered a speech yesterday, yet oddly, someone else appeared to read it. Was it precaution? Propaganda? Or simply because his injuries have changed his voice? The mystery only deepens. Meanwhile, the message from Washington is crystal clear. American officials say Donald Trump is firmly in control. The pace, the tempo, the timing of this conflict, all of it, they insist, rests in his hands. Peace through strength, they say. America first. Yet the White House has also drawn criticism after posting mocking social media clips aimed at Iran, flashy graphics celebrating strikes as if they were scenes from a video game. To many observers it looked childish, almost surreal, considering the stakes. Back in Europe, however, the real controversy has erupted around Britain. Reports suggest that during a virtual G7 meeting, Trump openly challenged Prime Minister Keir Starmer, accusing him of dithering and delaying. The issue? Britain's hesitation over allowing US forces to use British bases in the region. By the time London agreed, critics say, it was already too late to look decisive. And that delay has exposed an uncomfortable comparison. France, spending less on defense than Britain, managed to deploy a carrier to the region within days after an Iranian drone struck a base in Cyprus. President Emmanuel Macron even flew to the island and declared France ready to defend Europe. Britain, meanwhile, took another week just to get HMS Dragon on the move. So the question critics are now asking is brutally simple: what exactly are we spending our defense budget on? Supporters of Starmer argue caution was the right call. War is not a game. Before placing British servicemen and women in danger, they say, any Prime Minister must ask two questions: is the war legal, and what is the exit strategy? But opponents see something else entirely: hesitation that makes Britain look weak. Because in a world of hard power politics, perception matters. And right now, as tensions rise in the Middle East, Britain finds itself facing an uncomfortable debate about its role on the global stage, whether it still leads, or whether it's simply struggling to keep up.
Did you know over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed? Subscribing is free and helps us create more great content. Hit subscribe now and join our community.
Yes, but that was after the Cyprus attack. Well, it looked weak that we were catching up, but also he could have been so clever, because if he was, I think it's perfectly legitimate to ask what's the exit strategy, what's the goal, is this justified? I think any conflict we should always ask those questions. But had he perhaps been a little bit more accommodating to the Americans, he then I think would have had a seat at the table with Donald Trump. He could have asked those questions. He could have been involved in that conversation. Now, as we heard about on that call, Trump is saying, well, look, I don't care. You're even privately saying he's a loser. So I think that, unfortunately, we've just made ourselves look really weak, and I think we could have been a little bit more strategic. This has been his worst nightmare, because he's had to have an opinion on something. Yeah. And he hasn't had one in 2 years. Yeah. And that's the problem.
Let's take America and Donald Trump out of the equation for a minute, because some people cannot even just listen to what they say, and they have to cloud it with, Trump derangement syndrome. Let's also address that the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Cyprus all criticised our response, all said that we were weak and let them down. So look, when Barry says about putting our troops in harm's way, we have troops stationed all around the Middle East in bases, and not acting and not being able to send warships or use bases puts them at risk. And we've seen that because we've had rockets targeting our troops in different countries now, and we can't respond. France have issued 12 warships to the region. We haven't got one. Now, I'm sorry, this is a national embarrassment, and that's not just Keir Starmer. This is because of the Tories. The Tories allowed our military force to dwindle. But Keir Starmer hasn't done anything about that. They've had 18 months now to turn this round.
We've raised the amount going to defence.
Right. So why is every one of our warships in maintenance, Barry?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right that the Conservatives ran down the armed forces in a disgraceful way. We were the government that came in and said, no, we're putting this up not just to 2.5%, which is what it was when we left office, but we're going to put it up to 3%.
When
we're now talking
at the end of the Parliament in 2029. When you lose.
By the end of the Parliament.
Right.
And actually, we're now talking about more than that. And in order to do that, we reduced the international aid budget from 0.5 to 0.3.
You've had nearly 2 years, Barry, and we can't put a warship out.
Yeah.
We were once Great Britain. Yeah. We were feared by our response. We were fearless. We've now got, a loser as a Prime Minister, if I'm going to quote Donald Trump. And we cannot put a single warship out there. Well, we're an embarrassment, Barry.
Regardless of whether Barry's dreams of an amazing military in 2029 come to fruition or not, the reality is that right now what this conflict has clearly shown is just how weak we are and how, if we were in trouble tomorrow, we would desperately need the Americans. And the fact that Keir Starmer has completely severed the special relationship with his just absolutely incompetent behaviour. And that is the last thing Keir Starmer had going for him is gone now, because whilst he was completely failing at sorting out our own country here, the one thing he thought he was doing well at was international affairs.
What's the one thing he did well?
I've busted up Donald Trump and also...
Let me just quickly get Sid in, because he has a quick question, but you need to be brief, Sid.
OK, thank you very much. Yeah, to me, the biggest issue is the fact that Iran killed over 40,000 of the demonstrators. And it could be a lot more than that, because we've got the internet blackout and it's still going on. And is this not against international law to be killing innocent demonstrators? Apparently the Labour Party hasn't grasped that. But you see, the thing is, Trump was building up these troops around Iran for a long time. We had plenty of time to get the Navy ready. The fact that we were doing nothing was terrible. And the fact that Starmer also went to a Ramadan event and started boasting, I've not been helping the United States, shows that he's more interested in winning votes than he is in doing the right thing for Britain.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Can I just make one more other really quick point? When we saw the clip that you played earlier of Rachel Reeves saying that this crisis is not good for the British economy, don't be fooled that this is going to be another excuse by them, like Brexit, like the black hole, like the tariffs, like the Ukraine war, now Iran, as to why we've got zero growth. Rachel Reeves is the reason why we've got zero
and record unemployment.
Barry, God. You've got any comment on any of that? I'm just giving you a chance to come back on that. He was quite strong on Keir Starmer, so you've got anything else to add to that?
Can I just say, the gentleman who spoke from the audience, absolutely right about the Iranian regime. It's a vicious, horrible regime, absolutely vile. I was in Parliament in 2003 when we took the decision to go to war in Iraq. I needed no persuasion then that Saddam Hussein was an evil, vile, horrible man who killed his own people, just like the Iranian regime. What I did need clarity on was that the war would be a legal one and that there was an exit strategy. There were neither. There was neither. And that is why, for the past 20-odd years, people have been able to say, you took us into an illegal war. I don't want to be in that position again, and I'm glad that Keir Starmer made sure that we were not in that position again.